Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's call. This is Tony Javier, founder of Real Estate Prodigy, and today we're going to talk about finding and hiring contractors. For those of you who have not listened to Rehabbing 101, please do listen to that. And basically, this is one of the subjects we talked about in Rehabbing 101, which is a very important part of the business if you're going to be rehabbing properties. Rehabbing properties is a huge part of our business, and contractors have been one of the biggest obstacles that I've had in my real estate investing career. Over 15 years of investing, I've hired pretty much any kind of wrong contractor you can think of. Contractors that didn't show up on time, contractors that were drinking on the job, that were, smoking pot on the job. I mean, if it's happened, you can imagine it. It's probably happened to us over hundreds of jobs and over, a decade and a half of experience. We've seen just about everything. So what I want to do today is I want to set you guys up to succeed in your rehabbing business. Contractors are going to be a big part of that. You get the wrong contractors in place, you're going to have headaches. You're going to, you're not going to like that part of the business. But if you have the right contractors in place, like we do, which has taken us a long time to come up with the systems and things to find those contractors, then, once you find those great contractors, it makes your life so much easier. So let's dive right into it. So what you're going to learn today is where to find the best contractors, what to look for in a great contractor after many interviews and hiring many of the wrong people and some of the right people. I can tell you what to look for and kind of the signs of a good contractor. How to interview and pre-qualify contractors. This is something that people are not taking the time to do, and they say that hiring the wrong person in your business as an employee can cost you tens of thousands of dollars, sometimes even hundreds of thousands of dollars. And it's the exact same thing with contractors. So interview them and pre-qualify them, and we'll show you how to do it. And we're going to show you how to set your jobs up to succeed. There's many things that you can put in place to find the right contractors and to set your jobs up to succeed. If you don't take the time to set those things up, can you have a good job site? Absolutely. You can still make money with rehabs, especially if you buy them right. But if you spend a little bit more time up front to set your jobs up the way that they're supposed to, they're going to be so much more likely to succeed. So let's start with finding contractors, where to find the best contractors. And yep, that's right. You find them on the beach. I actually put that up there for you ladies. There aren't very many lady contractors, or else I would have put a nice looking lady up there. So that's actually one of the Property Brothers. Great show. So let's look at where to find the best contractors and where we found the best contractors. And I'm telling you, bar none, referrals are the number one source for contractors. Referrals are good because typically it's people that you know and trust that are sending these contractors to you. And if they're sending these contractors to you and they're putting their name on the line, chances are they've used them or they've heard rave reviews about them. So, actually they say that most people who get a job are actually those that are referred to that company. And, why should it be any different for contractors? So ask around. One of the things I do is I'll post on Facebook if I have my roofers go down, if I have my cleaning person get sick, if I need a backup, then I'll just post on Facebook, hey, does anybody know a cleaning lady? And I guarantee you go do that right now, you'll get 1 to 5 referrals, if not 10, of people that have used somebody that they want to refer to you that are actually good enough. Other contractors. So let's say you know a really good sheetrock guy. Don't be afraid to ask him who he recommends as a framer, or who he recommends as a as a trim carpenter. Contractors hang out with other good contractors. Bad contractors hang out with other bad contractors. So you don't necessarily want to ask a bad contractor if they know someone, but if you have a good contractor on board, don't be afraid to ask them if they know anybody. And if they're on your team and there's someone that really wants to help you, then they're probably going to put some feelers out and ask some people, or at least ask them if they can ask some other people that they know. And again, if they're the right person that's in your business, then they're going to take that extra step to find that person for you. And you know what? If your sheetrocker really cares about your job sites and wants things to go smoother, then if you need a framer, they're going to recommend a good framer, because that affects his job too. Because the framer, if he's behind, if he does shoddy work, then that makes the sheetrocker's job that much harder. So don't be afraid to ask your contractors for referrals. Suppliers, Lowe's is who we use for all of our supplies. So they're kind of touchy on who they recommend. They're not supposed to technically refer anybody to you, but they may say, hey, I know John comes in and he's a good guy. I'll tell you what, I'll give him your phone number and have him call you. Our carpet company, we use a carpet outlet that we get stuff for bulk pricing, and anytime we need a flooring guy, which we've gone through many, we have a couple of good ones now, but they have business card after business card of guys that come in there and pick up carpet all the time, and they kind of know who's good and who's not. So check with your supplier. Sherwin-Williams we use for paint, so there's many times where we've asked them for painter referrals. They keep business cards in their shop, so they'll just go through the business cards and say, hey, here's Christopher. He comes in here all the time. He seems like a good guy. Why don't you give him a try? Angie's List is I've never used Angie. Well, I've actually used it. I've never actually pulled someone off of Angie's List and used them. But the good thing about Angie's List is that they have people that are rated, so you can see reviews of who's good and who's not. And I guess the downfall of Angie's List is people that pay to be on there may be a little bit more expensive, but it's definitely worth a shot. Especially if you're looking for a really good general contractor, or if you're looking for someone that's reputable. You may want to pay a little bit more money to get a good contractor on board. So why not try it? Give it a shot. Now, Craigslist, I've not had much luck with. The only time I've had luck with Craigslist is for grunt help. People that you want to do, demo, hauling, landscaping, things of that nature. If you're looking for a really good contractor, chances of finding them on Craigslist are pretty slim, at least in my experience. Those that are actually doing good work are probably going to be busy, and they're not going to have to put ads on Craigslist. They get referrals. They've got, work a couple weeks, a month in advance. So not the best for skilled work, but if you definitely want grunt work, go on Craigslist. There's people looking for stuff all the time. Newspaper is actually a good one. Yes, people do still use the newspaper, and for those of you that are too young to know what a newspaper is, it's those things they throw in your driveway that you see out there sometimes. Newspaper is going away a little bit, but sure as heck, a few months ago, I opened up the paper and saw that there were still contractors that were advertising. In fact, there's a few in there that I use that are good contractors. So there's, gosh, I can't remember which section it is. It's somewhere probably in your classifieds. It might even be in a random section in your newspaper. But if you go in the newspaper, you look through, you should be able to find a section for contractors, or they may call it like skilled labor, or something like that. So don't be afraid to go in there and check your newspaper for a list of contractors that you can call and interview. And of course, you've heard of good old Google. Again, kind of the same thing with Angie's List. If they're high on the search engines and they're paying for ads, chances are they may be a little bit more expensive. But really, contractors don't really advertise that much. So you may get some single person that just threw up a one-page website. If you Google, you'll find their name. So typically, you can tell by their website what kind of business they are. And then just give them a call, interview them. You're probably not going to have reviews unless you go to an Angie's List or something like that. But you can definitely find people on Google. If you need a framer, type in framer. If you need a sheetrock person, type in sheetrock. And, if you type in sheetrock, chances are you'll probably find like some kind of a sheetrock supplier. So even if you're not using that supplier, I wouldn't hesitate to give them a call and say, hey, I know you do sheetrock. I want to buy some sheetrock from you. Do you think that you could recommend some guys that do a high volume of sheetrock? In fact, starting the Tampa, Florida market, which is one of the new markets we just went into, that's one of the first things I did was called suppliers and said, hey, do you have people that you recommend that you know are good, that do consistent business with you, that I could call and interview? And man, I got dozens of referrals by doing that. So that's definitely a good way to get some good referrals. Okay, so let's move on to interviewing a contractor. I used to make the mistake back in the day of just throwing contractors in there. I'd find one, I'd talk to them, they'd talk a good game, I would show them the property, I wouldn't have a scope of work, and I would just get them going. Can you be successful that way? Sure you can. I did it for years before I came up with this process and learned from other people and learn from their processes. So I'm going to show you how to interview a contractor so that you know whether they're good or not. So we have a contractor interview sheet that we have in our archive. So if you're a pro member, then you have access to this. And this asks them a lot of basic questions. How long have you been in the business? What kind of jobs do you do? How many job sites do you have going right now? You can even ask them, if you can go visit those job sites. So, we've come up with a list of questions that are very good up front to ask them. And by asking them these questions, you can get a better feel for what kind of contractor they are. Now, obviously, you're not really going to know what kind of contractor, they are, or, what kind of work they do, 100% until you hire them. But really,